Waymire lived her life by. I'm sure you all know how difficult it was having to write something that so much information about someone that you care so much about that means the world to you. In this case, it's my mother, Linda Waymire. Linda was born July 29, 1952 in Oakland, California to Juanita and Vern. However, she was raised mainly by her grandmother and two older sisters because of divorce, and then her mother was always working. She started working in her mother's restaurant when she was about 8 years old. Around the same time, she was faced with one of the most difficult things she'd ever have to overcome. With sexual abuse came a decision she'd have to make. She chose the Three Stooges as her inspiration. Yes, she's a goofball. When asked how she managed to become who she is today, she says, laughter. I just don't take anything too seriously. Now, I know that personally for a fact, because when we were children, and it even happens now, whenever I would say, hey, Mom, it hurts when I do this, her answer was always, well, then don't do that. No, she would always, at the very end up helping out and helping us and making us feel better, but that was always her answer. Moving forward 8 years, so she was 16, she met and married Mark Kinsley. She didn't graduate from high school at this time. She chose to raise her family. She did get her GED, and eventually did get her high school diploma, but that was after all three of us had gone through high school ourselves. In the early 80s, she went through a very brutal divorce. She was fortunate enough to meet Rick Waymire during that time. He saw that she would degrade herself regularly, so he took down an award frame that he had in his office, took out what was ever in there, and told her that every time that she said something negative about herself, she would have to put $1 into this frame. By the end of the day, she had $13 in the frame, which I understand doesn't seem like a big deal now, but back then it was a huge deal with a mother of 3 kids and any bit of money she needed. So this $13, she's like, oh, great Scots. So at that time, she refers to this as her $13 life lesson. That was a pivotal point in her life. She began to associate herself at that time with more positive people, and it gives all of that to I call him Swap, to Rick. He saw that in 1995 she married her second husband and the love of her life, Rick Waymire. She and Rick would be married for nearly 26 years before his passing. During this time, they owned and ran several companies, like a mortgage company and a real estate company. Her kids were always a priority, though. We never went without, even if she had to, so that we wouldn't. She's always done little things that makes each one of us individually feel special. I remember a time in high school, I would tell her about things that I was doing, and there was a performance going on during our lunch hour. Parents aren't allowed to go in there. This is for kids. Well, my mom comes strolling in because she knows I'm going to be there at a certain time, so she comes strolling in and watches. Still to this day, I mean, that was a couple of years ago. And I still remember that as something to this day that meant so much to me. This is just one of the countless things that she's done to make us feel special. In 1990, she was put into a situation the first time in her life where she had absolutely no control over. There was a war about to begin, and she had both sons in the Marine Corps. At this point is when she finally decided just to leave it into God's hands, and since then she's let God handle several other things. 1995, on a whim, she and Rick moved to Arizona, which I and several family members soon followed. This is where she answered an ad in an entertainment section of the newspaper. It was for Rawhide, an 1880s theme park here in Scottsdale. She would be hired as Mama Gurk, a comedy street actress. She had a blast playing this character every day and would say, where else can you be in the beauty of Arizona, be able to make fun of people, and get paid for it? At that point, it wasn't enough. She still loved doing it, but she wanted to do something else. She wanted to make more of an impact on people and reach a broader audience. So to further her education, she, in her newfound happiness of singing and acting, she attended a class that was taught by an A-list instructor. During the critiques of the other actors, she was realizing that she was having the same critiques as the teacher was having. So she told the instructor, and the instructor encouraged her to get more education and just pursue what she wanted to do. After she had several classes and countless paying gigs under her belt, she decided to start her own acting company and also has her own production company called ALG, which Ain't Life Grand Productions. Her studio allows her to be the goofball that she is, while she's providing an artistic outlet of discovery and of herself and of the general public, or the world in general, rather. Her studio motto is, touching one life at a time through the arts. As she always says, if you leave her studio with as a better actor, that's great, but her hope is that you leave this studio knowing that you're just a better person in general. When asked about the legacy that she'd like to leave, she did say that she, as far as her family's concerned, that she would like her family to be self-sufficient and strong. And as far as her work goes, she wanted to make sure that she touched people through her work. She says one of the greatest gifts that she has is to say yes to anything. She's not afraid to take chances, and it's one of her favorite quotes from General Patton states, "Accept challenges so you may feel the exhilaration of victory." You can often catch her singing, playing guitar, teaching, or making fun of someone, especially herself, but don't worry, you're not off limits. You're always welcome with a huge hug and a smile every time you see her. And oh yeah, we still have Three Stooges night. I really hope you enjoyed learning a little bit about the person who means the most to me, her childhood, the amazing, strong, confident role model that she's become, and the silliness that she provides. I will leave you with one of the many quotes that Linda lives her life by. Anything that you can conceive and believe you can achieve, by Napoleon Hill. Well, I'm looking forward to listening to the rest of whoever means the most to you all. Thank you.